What you're about to hear is not just information, it's knowledge that can completely transform your life if you truly open yourself to it. I've been studying it for over 60 years, and still, every day, I discover new depths. Let me begin with a quote that stayed with me for life. You are limited only by the weakness of your attention and the poverty of your imagination. Think about it. How often do you start something with excitement, then switch to something else? How often do you use imagination not to create a great future, but to invent what could go wrong? One of the greatest minds in history, Werner von Braun, once answered President Kennedy in just 5 words when asked what it would take to send a man to the moon and bring him back. The will to do it. Will isn't just wanting something, it's a force. And will is one of our 6 higher mental faculties. Alongside imagination, intuition, memory, perception, and reason. These are the tools that separate us from animals. But most people don't even know how to use them. Take imagination. It's often used as a worry generator. What if it doesn't work out? What if I fail? That too is imagination, just pointed in the wrong direction. But what if you used it consciously to create the life you truly want? Napoleon Hill once said, "Imagination is the most wonderful, miraculous, powerful force known to humankind." It's not wishful thinking, it's a creative instrument. Let me tell you a bit about myself. I wasn't born into a wealthy family. I didn't have a strong education. As a teenager, I worked low-paid jobs and lived in debt. I didn't even know what I wanted, but I clearly knew what I didn't want. And one day I was introduced to the law of vibration. You've probably heard of the law of attraction, especially from the film The Secret. But here's what most people miss. The law of attraction is secondary. It only works because of the law of vibration. Here's the essence. Everything in the universe is energy. Everything vibrates. Even a stone lying on the ground vibrates at a microscopic level. Thoughts, vibrations, emotions, vibrations. Your body, energy and motion. And here's the most important part. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are in resonance with. Every thought you think activates certain areas of the brain. That generates an energy pulse. The more emotionally involved you are, the stronger the vibration. And that vibration begins to shape your reality. Let me share a personal story. In 1973, I sat on an old couch in a small house and wrote, "I want to create a company that operates worldwide." I had no team, no real plan, but I had a clear image and a strong emotional desire. Years later, that company actually reached people in every country, not by magic, but because I resonated with that version of reality. Albert Einstein once said, "Everything is energy. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality." This is not philosophy. This is physics. Do you understand? You don't receive what you wish for. You receive what frequency you're tuned to. That's why everything begins in the mind. One person once told me, "Bob, you're always sick, always broke. You don't read. You're miserable." And he was right. Then he gave me a book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That moment was a turning point. I realized all my results were just a reflection of my inner world, my thoughts, feelings, and self-image. And here's the most powerful truth. You are not your past, not your mistakes, not your current situation. You are energy, potential, vibration, and you can change your frequency anytime. If you keep facing financial stress, repeated failures, emotional stagnation, it's not fate, it's a vibration mismatch. So how do you shift your frequency? Start with your thinking, not just a single thought, but emotional involvement with the new version of yourself. Imagine it, feel it, write it down, carry it with you, touch it every day. Let it remind you, this is who I'm becoming. Repetition is the secret. Not just a single thought once, but returning to it again and again until it becomes your inner state. Ask yourself, what are you tuned to right now? Do your thoughts empower or drain you? Because here's the truth. You are energy, you are vibration, you are movement. And when you align with the truest version of yourself, your outer world begins to reflect it. When I began studying the law of vibration, someone showed me a very simple, yet incredibly powerful drawing. Picture a circle divided in half. The top half represents the conscious mind, the bottom half, the subconscious, and below both, the body. The top part is your thinking mind. You can analyze, choose, accept, or reject thoughts. You are the author of what you think, but the subconscious, it doesn't choose. It simply accepts everything you let in, especially if it's emotional or repeated often. The subconscious is like fertile soil. You can plant seeds of success or seeds of fear, and it will grow exactly what you plant. Now here's where it gets interesting. We are programmed from childhood. You're born, and during the first 6 to 7 years, your mind is completely open. You don't filter what's true or not. You simply absorb everything. What your family says about money, how they treat their bodies, their health, love, their fears, prejudices, beliefs. You absorb it all, and then live with that for decades, not realizing most of it isn't even yours. So you grow up, you learn things, you gain knowledge. But here's the problem. You have information, but no transformation. Why? Because your mind knows one thing, but your subconscious is programmed for something else. Example, you might know how to manage money, but habitually spend everything you earn. You might know how to build relationships, but keep choosing toxic people. You might know how to stay healthy, but choose stress, procrastination, or junk food. Knowledge is not equal to results. Your results are not based on what you know, but on what's programmed deep inside, your paradigm. A paradigm is a set of habits, beliefs, and automatic reactions. It controls up to 95% of your daily actions. If you don't change the paradigm, you're like someone pressing the gas while holding down the brakes. Once I understood this, I began working on it daily. I started reprogramming myself through reading, repetition, visualization, writing, working with emotions. People used to say to me, "You always want more. You should be satisfied with what you have." They meant it lovingly, but they were wrong. Desire is not greed. Desire is the voice of your potential. Your inner being always seeks expansion. You're not here to stay the same. You're here to move, evolve, expand. That's why you crave something new. That's why the old life starts to feel too small. Desire is divine energy trying to express itself through you. It's not about getting. Getting is a bonus. Desire is there so that you become more than you were yesterday. I remember clearly. Someone once told me, "Bob, you don't read, you don't grow. You're always sick and broke." And it hit me. If I wanted a new life, I had to become a new person. So I started reading. Every day. At first it was hard. I had dropped out of school at 15. I had no experience. But I began with just a few lines, one idea, and I repeated. I wrote my goal on a card and carried it with me. Every time I touched it, I visualized where I lived, how I looked, who I worked with, how I felt, in my body, in my finances, in my relationships. Step by step, my world started to change. Not because outer conditions suddenly shifted, but because I changed my vibration. You are like a radio. If you're tuned to FM 89.7, you can't hear what's on 103.5. Same with goals. You can't attract abundance while vibrating fear. You can't receive love while radiating self-criticism. First, tune in, then receive. You don't attract what you wish for. You attract what you've become on the inside on the vibrational level. Let me repeat what Einstein said. Match the frequency of the reality you want. You can't help but get it. This is not philosophy, it's physics. And it truly works. I've seen it in hundreds, even thousands of people I've worked with. I've seen it in my own life, and still do. Imagine this. There's a screen inside your mind. On that screen, you can project any thought. And if you hold that thought long enough, with emotion, it sinks deeper into your subconscious. Your subconscious, in turn, sends commands to your body and reality, and life begins to mirror that inner message. Here's how the process works. Thought, emotion, action, result. Let's say you think, "I'm a failure. Nothing works out for me." Maybe you don't say it out loud, but you feel it inside. You experience emotions like fear, insecurity, shame. Your body responds. Your posture drops. Your breath becomes shallow. You lack energy. You act with hesitation and doubt, and you get results that reinforce that belief. But what if you reprogram your inner message to, I'm capable, I'm learning, I'm growing? Then you begin to feel confident, inspired. You move with purpose. You take aligned actions, and the world around you starts to shift. Here's the key point. The subconscious cannot tell the difference between what's imagined and what's real. It accepts everything you emotionally repeat as fact. That's why it's so crucial to guard what you allow in. What do you watch? What do you think about most? Who do you listen to? What do you say to yourself daily? Many people unconsciously consume negativity. They watch alarming news, listen to others complain, dwell on fear, and then they wonder why they feel anxious, lost, or stuck. The answer is simple. They are vibrating at the level of fear. I often say, tell me what you repeat to yourself, and I'll tell you the life you're creating. That's why repetition is so powerful. When I began this journey, my mentor gave me a simple task. Write your goal on a small card. Carry it with you every day. Each time you touch it, recall the image of the life you're creating. Step by step, day by day, your subconscious begins to accept it as your new reality. Repetition turns new thoughts into natural ones. At first, the idea feels unfamiliar, then possible, then familiar. Eventually, it becomes your identity. This is transformation. But you must understand, unless you change your paradigm, your results won't change. You can read all the books, attend all the seminars, but if deep down you still believe, I'm not worthy, it never works for me. That kind of life isn't for people like me. Then those beliefs will shape your life, not your knowledge. So the real question becomes, who are you when no one is watching? What do you believe about love, money, your purpose? And another key truth, you always attract what you're in vibrational harmony with, not at the level of words, but at the level of being. You might say, I want love, but deep inside, fear closeness. You'll attract distant people. You might say, I want to be wealthy, but feel guilt around money. Money will avoid you. That's why I always say, build the version of you that matches your vision before the world reflects it. That is true self-work. Your thoughts, imagination, and emotional involvement are not mystical concepts. They are internal programming tools that tune your frequency. Because the universe is energy. Your body is energy. Your voice, your dreams, everything vibrates. And when you learn to choose your vibration consciously, you stop reacting to life and start creating it. Want a new life? Start with new thoughts. You can create your economy. You can create your relationships. You can design the life you deeply desire. It's not magic. It's conscious work, mindset, emotions, actions, and most of all, it's practice. Repeat, visualize, affirm, act. Live each day as if you already are that version of you, because at some point, you will be. And if something inside you whispered yes while listening, that's your deeper self recognizing the truth. Tap like as your inner agreement, a signal to your mind and the universe. I'm ready to shift. It's more than a click. It's alignment. Then leave a comment with one word that anchors your intention. A single word can be your seed for change. Planted today, growing every time you return to this space. And when you're ready to go deeper, explore the other videos on our channel about awareness, energy, and the power of your mind. Let each video be a mirror, a spark, a reminder that you are not here to survive, you are here to awaken. This is just the beginning. Tune in again and again.